I'm doing it. It's not doing it for some reason. Let me try this one. Right?
Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name's Dean. A lot of people are calling me the King of Canada because of the sweet crown. I got a maple leaf. There you go. That's a crown. I'm the king. A lot of people are saying it. A lot of people in Europe are saying, I'm the king. I'm the king of... And there's the king of Florida, ladies and gentlemen, running for Congress, Lev Parnas, the king of Florida. He's got himself a palm tree. Some people say palm tree is not a tree. It looks like a palm. That's a lie. That's a big palm tree. Even though I got small palms, I don't have palm tree hands. Also have a small pecker. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Five Stack. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, everybody. Hi.
Hey, King. Do we address you as your majesty, or how would you like to be addressed from now on?
King of Canada. Look at the crown. Look at that.
Beautiful
on
crown.
My head. Look at the
The
crown
nicest
of maple
crown
leaf.
ever seen in the world. That is beautiful.
You know, I was gonna say, yeah, I was just bravo.
Bravo, thanks to me, thanks to Lev Parnas, I've just been named the King of Canada. A lot of people are saying it. Nobody's given me anything. You should all be thanking me.
We are all thanking you. We're all thanking you for being the king, the greatest king of the greatest country on the planet.
The greatest. I mean,
Boys, well, can I ask you a question? How is the intro for that ridiculous fucking Substack Live any different than what Donald Trump says every day? A lot of people in Europe calling me the king of Europe.
Dude, I don't know, like God works in Israel, because if literally before we got out, I published my Substack letter. I just said to Zev, did you read it? He goes, no, I haven't even got a chance to read it before we won. And it's basically about Donald Trump wanting to be the king, about how Netanyahu and how Trump and how Putin and how everybody plays him, because that's all he wants is just like, did you see? We'll get into it, but
guys, I'll start a war for you. I'll attack Iran. You just got to tell me I'm great. You're great. Let the bombs drop, but then give me 20 billion in crypto and a crown. I'm the king. Look at me.
He does really. Oh, sorry, that's not what I'm trying to do. He does really believe he's going to be the king. He believes that's his rightful place. Did you hear him with the? We'll get into this in a second, but with the Japanese prime minister, where he talks about,
what I was about to say.
Pearl Harbor, but then he talks about attacking me in Pearl Harbor. Like, dude, you were not attacking Pearl Harbor.
Let me take control. Let me take control. Give it to me right now. This is morning radio time. Dean is in control. Listen, what I saw today, we started with the look at my crown. I'm the king. I'm the best. Played out in the Oval Office today. And let me set the scene for you. Donald Trump entertaining the new prime minister of Japan. She's right-leaning, but very centric, very self-centric, very smart lady. So she comes in. They ask her, ma'am, why did Donald Trump not tell you about his attack on Iran? Donald Trump, he answers it himself, and I quote, let me just give you the quote. It's the greatest quote of all time. Greatest quote of all time. Well, we didn't tell you because we didn't know if you could keep a secret, but you kept Pearl Harbor a secret, so maybe you're good at secrets. That happened today.
It's better than that. I mean, we can play the actual clip itself because it is beyond funny. I mean, there's probably like nothing worse you could do than mention Pearl Harbor next to the Japanese prime minister. I mean, there's probably like the worst act you could make. I mean, I don't know what the worst thing would be.
Did you see her face?
That's it.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, you gotta look at the face.
That's it. This is the worst. This is the worst thing you could say to the Japanese premier, other than we're pretty good at keeping secrets too. Remember Nagasaki and Hiroshima?
Yeah, right. I mean, like.
We're also good at blowing things up, just like it's your cities. Let's take a listen to this. This is astonishingly, it's a story number 5 on our countdown today, and it's beyond belief. I mean, he needs something from her, right? He's hoping that she'll help him with naval vessels to secure the Straits of Hormuz.
Terrible way to go about it. Reminding her of Pearl Harbor.
To say, she brought, by the way, 250 cherry trees because that's the gift that she gave America. In exchange, this is what we got.
To tell U.S. allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran. So we are very confused about Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right?
Oh, no.
He's asking me, no, you believe in surprise, I think, much more so than us.
You believe in
And
surprise?
we had a surprise. And we did. And because of that surprise, we knocked out, the first 2 days, we probably knocked out 50% of what we, and much more than we anticipated.
Much more than
If
100%.
I go and tell everybody about it, there's no longer a surprise. Right? Okay, one more.
And one more. You want another surprise?
Yeah.
I mean, she looks absolutely mortified. I mean, if looks could kill, I think she's about to like assassinate the journalist who asked the question because she.
You know how
she's-
awesome this is?
I'm gonna watch it again. Can we watch it again?
Listen, watch it from the start. Everybody, please pay attention to Donald Trump bringing up Pearl Harbor as a secret.
In Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran. So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right?
In 1945. 42, sorry.
Surprise, I think, much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did.
I think
because of that
everybody's
surprise,
surprised.
we knocked out the first 2 days. We probably knocked out
Look at her.
50% of
She's
what
like, oh my gosh.
and much more than we anticipated. So
Much more.
if I go and
Look
tell
at her.
everybody about it, there's no longer a surprise, right? Okay,
There's no
one
longer
more.
a surprise.
Well,
There's no
you know,
longer. Lev, go ahead, Lev. Like, I mean, can you script a fucking better Saturday Night Live episode in your
It's gonna be the cold open.
life?
You know, it's going to be the cold open on Saturday. It's going to be.
Oh, I can't wait to cold open on Saturday and every late night show. It's going to be, listen, I mean, this is classic Donald Trump. I mean, he just doesn't care about anybody. He doesn't see who's sitting next. It's just irrelevant. It's like, we're the best. We knocked out more than we anticipated. We took more than we hit. There was 100%. We knocked out 120%. You know, we knocked out all of the uranium out the first time. Remember, we
gone.
obliterated.
Yeah, it's gone.
Gone. It was we had that they were flying 36 hours. It was stuffed. It was incredible. It was perfection bombing, the best bombing ever in the world. We
No one's ever
everything
seen
out.
anything like
Nobody's
it.
ever seen it. But now we're going in. I mean, it's the crazy part. Listen, and this is why I was in Washington.
Oh, we lost you, Lev.
We definitely
back,
are talking
back.
about.
No, we
Sorry,
lost you for a sec. You're back.
but you're back.
This is
I'm
why
back,
you're
yeah.
in Washington and then you left and now you're
yeah.
back.
Yeah, I said I was in DC for a few days. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but I'm saying to you the craziness that it's not Donald Trump. We've seen. I mean, he's an actor. He's an actor. This is theatrics. But there's serious, and this is what my Substack letter I was talking to you about, Zev, earlier is, and me and you're going to speak a little bit later about also because I think you're all over this, is the true relationship between Netanyahu and Putin and the oligarchy in Russia and what transpired in the 90s and early 2000s. And at the same time, simultaneously, Netanyahu's friendship that built with the Kushner family that then transpired when Kushner started dating Ivanka and all of it, and how all of that intertwined to what we're seeing play out today, that Donald Trump is, again, still the actor. I mean, he's out there being a fool, playing out. Meanwhile, what you see him playing out behind the scenes. So just think about what happened today, folks. Just today in 24 hours, we already are now had one of the two largest gas, not already oil. We've now got two of the major gas fields in Qatar
LNG,
and in
yeah.
the LNG gas. And where does LNG gas flow from when it comes to Eastern Europe? It's Qatar, right? Because why did the Qatar and all of these places become number one hubs? Because we destroyed Nord Stream 1 and 2, remember? And who is sitting here in Florida right now talking with Witkoff and Kushner? It's Kirill Dmitriev. You know what they're talking about, folks?
He's in town?
I don't know if he's still in town, but but when he was in town, one of the things they were talking about is Nord Stream 1 and 2, getting back the LNG, plus all of the LNG plants we have here in Texas that are about to start. This is going back to, again, just like what we've seen in Venezuela. To me, it's PTSD. It's exactly what we were doing and what was taking place back in 2018, 2019. Same players, same MO. But now the difference is Trump is unleashed. The difference is back then you had guardrails. Back then you had people, even though, and this is the crazy part, Bill Barr and all of those people were bad people. But as bad as they were not on the same side of Trump. They had different, and because of that, they were getting in each other's way. Donald Trump right now, by having the people like, Tulsi Gabbard. Look at Tulsi Gabbard today at the hearings. I mean, the one thing that
she was awesome.
We're going to get it later.
I know we're going to get to it, but that's how I'm not going to go into it. But the one, she is awesome. We're going to get that. But the one thing, and I think the most important thing that I got out of all of that I think is extremely important that we should need to keep our track on, because I keep talking about every single day, folks, is when it comes to when she was asked about what she was doing in Georgia, what she's doing with election reform, what she's doing in Arizona, and she didn't answer, folks. And this is what I'm trying to explain to you. We're going to get there. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just curious because here's this president who doesn't he may not have guardrails, but he seems to be able to fuck things up all on his own. I mean, that was a remarkably bad statement. He delivers it like it's a punchline, right? It's like, who knows better about surprises than Japan? It's like, that is, he's like, I've got the good ones. I know the peak audience is going to hit when I say this line. Everyone's going to love me. She is. I mean, they're so careful.
Mortified.
Diplomacy is so important in Japan. The way you do things, the orchestration of things, how things are said are so careful. I mean, she literally arrived with 250 cherry trees. What could be nicer and more giving and more spring-like to give to the president of the United States? And his response is to absolutely, condemn her and the entire Japanese people. I mean, this is not,
his response is to bring up literally the most horrific experience between both countries.
Just think about this. Can you imagine how we're portraying it here? What I would like to see is how it's being portrayed in Japan right now.
I was looking at Japan Times. I'm reading Japanese influencers today, mill bloggers, and they're like, "Oh, this is the worst thing that's happened since 1945."
No, for decades, Obama went to Pearl Harbor. The Japanese leader Abe went to Pearl Harbor. They were trying to bring things back together with some kind diplomacy. They were going to, build bridges finally and, try to erase this horrible piece of history from our past. And in like 10 seconds, Donald Trump is able to re-inflame the entire thing. Like it never, all this.
You know what it reminded me of too, if I can? What it reminded me of? It reminded me of, I had this. My mom's grandfather died several years ago, and he was like 97 when he died. And he would say the most outrageously fucking uncomfortably stupid things towards the end of his life, where he would bring up family, chasms, canyons that we would never get over. Remember when your mom did this to me? And you're oh my God, dude.
But that's what this is like. I mean, the Japanese are going to just be mortified about this because they're trying to, they think this is something
they've been running away from partnering with Hitler for a solid 85 years.
Yeah. And then this guy brings it up right in the middle of this first press conference that she's a new prime minister. Yes, she's on a similar agenda to him. She's a little right wing, but boy, is it just a clanger. It's just the worst opening.
But he's also able to kill both sides at the same time. Not only the Japanese, but think about the disrespect to us, our fallen soldiers. People died because you guys kept a good secret. You guys did a good job. Look how you hit us in Pearl Harbor. That was, it's are you kidding me? We had over 2,000 people die. It was one of the most, everybody, and you're like, well, the Japanese know how to do it.
You really got us with that secret.
You got it, but we did it better. We even did it outperformed you in Iran. Look at what we did. You think you did good in Pearl Harbor? Look at what we. It's
so true.
You may have got us in Pearl Harbor, but man, did we ever sneak up on Iran? Huh?
Yeah. Who's going to be next? Maybe you'll hit me next by surprise. I mean, that could be
Lev underscores the ridiculousness of that with hey, you know, remember 45? You guys really got one over on us when he killed 2,000 of us in one day.
Sick. But if you listen to it again, and you really, because I was, see, that's the whole thing, is when I watch him, when I watch his press conferences, like me and my wife will sit there and like she has one take, and then I'll be like, no, he did this. She goes like, it's like, because I know him. I mean, like I see where he's going. It's like he wasn't like, oh my God, like how dare you attack us? He was like, that was a good one.
You hit me, by the way. He says you got me. Like he wasn't got hit. He wasn't there.
It's like you got America, but we showed you. If you think you got a secret,
that's the best. That was the best part. Like, is like, you didn't tell me about Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
he was 7.
He wasn't there. In case he doesn't know,
he was not 7. There. He's like, ma'am, you were not alive during Pearl Harbor, but you didn't call us, and you definitely didn't call me and let me know about Pearl Harbor. I mean, you guys are great at secrets.
He obviously does confuse the two. He obviously confuses the United States and me and him. You know, he just has that. He doesn't see the difference, which is why he's never going away. Which is why he thinks he's the king, just like you're the king of Canada. So you know,
see the crown. See my crown. I got a great crown.
Love that crown. Number 2 story on the countdown today. Pentagon Secretary Pete Hegseth asked Congress today for $200 billion in additional war funding. Meanwhile, a blind spot story from Ground News, we'll get to it in a second, about how the Iranian lawmakers are moving to impose tolls and taxes on ships passing through the Straits of Hormuz. But let's deal with these in 2 different sections. And before we tell you about Ground News, which we should have done off the top, but the Japanese, you know.
No, let's just do it now. Listen, here's the secret.
No, keep a secret. I want you to keep the secret. Look, the Japanese can do it. Donald Trump could do it, Sam. You can do it, Sam.
You can do it.
It's a
keep
surprise.
The client secret. Keep the client secret that do not go to groundnews.com no matter what you do and get your 40% off discount with /FIVESTACK, because these guys are Sherpas and they'll tell you the right information. They will tell you who's using your information and who's trying to screw you over with it.
It won't be a surprise
I use these
anymore.
guys all the time to deliver incredible information to everybody every day at deanblundell.substack.com. So whatever you do, according to Donald Trump, don't claim your 40% off at groundnews.com /FIVESTACK, because that would be terrible. And then you'll learn about Pearl Harbor.
Life would be boring without it. So don't subscribe to Ground News at groundnews.com /FIVESTACK, 40% off. But let's talk about this remarkable $200 billion that they're asking for. And that is a sensational amount of money over and above the $1 trillion budget they already have for the military, which is, by the way, run out of ammunition somehow with $1 trillion budget.
Well, that's why they need all the money, dude. They ran out of fucking stuff.
But
they need more stuff.
Well, because it's like they're shooting $1 million rocket at a $20,000 drone. Like, this was part of the whole thing where Trump got dragged into this whole thing where he's in a world that he doesn't understand. He thinks, oh, we got it's like, he came to fight against these little guys and they're running between the legs. He doesn't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
Like it's like the Strait of Hormuz. It's like today with Japan. Oh, it's good that Japan, but we don't need them. Like, we don't need anybody. We got everything under control. We're just bombing everybody. We're killing innocent people all over the place. Everything that's raining oil, we're destroying. But we could do. But then I like the threats. Then he goes a step further. He goes, but if you do that, I'm going to go even worse. How much worse can you go, Donald? What are you like? What are you like? What?
7,000 targets is not enough for him. But $200 billion can buy you a lot of stuff. You could buy, healthcare for probably many Americans, maybe all the Americans. I don't know. It's a huge number, and a country with a huge deficit, with a huge debt burden. The idea of spending another $200 billion just to annihilate another country for a third country for Israel's purposes, basically, is ridiculous. And yet,
if I can, offer a comparison of that $200 billion, they took out $80 billion from healthcare and Medicaid this year. $80 billion. $80 billion. They're like, oh, we can't spend all that money.
Can't afford that. Got to give tax cuts.
All those violent migrant criminals that are coming in and collecting their health care. None of them are, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we need to take all that money from SNAP benefits because they're spending it on tampons and smokes. Like, we can't have that. No. And then they're like, hey, guys, but we need $200 billion for the fucking military. And in one fell swoop today, and Pete Hegseth, let me just kind of bring him to the fore because he's been awesome the last couple of days too, where he's like, I told my 13-year-old son, this is a holy war. This is a holy war, and 20 U.S. service members died, so one day you don't have to fight an imaginary nuclear war that they were never in any danger of starting. So that's a whole other fucking set of circumstances. So Pete Hegseth stands up to the stump today, and he's like, we need $200 billion. Can you put a price on safety for the American people? I started dying fucking laughing.
He said, I'm like, it costs a lot of money to get those bad guys. I think was his exact line. It costs a hell of a lot of money to get those bad guys.
And the entire narrative for the past like 4 or 5 days has been like, but wait a second. Iran just showed you how to kill a whole bunch of people for 10 grand. And you're telling us you need 200 billion? Is that the ticket? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
But the other thing is, what I was saying, I thought we won already. I thought we already won the
twice.
I thought we've already destroyed everything that could be destroyed.
Oh, it's totally. We won completely. It's going to take, and it's just a matter of days when it was done. They were completely wrecked. They're a mess. That military.
I heard Iran is calling, begging, but he said no. He said not enough, not yet. We're not done. We're just about.
We're almost finished.
So what's the 200 billion for? I'm just trying to understand. Like,
you also want to give a timeline for when the war will be over. Now, do you remember it started off? It was going to be a couple of days, then it was going to be a couple of weeks, then it's maybe a few months, and now we don't even have an end date, which we all sort of knew would be the case. But that's why they need $200 billion. But also, you got to believe there'll be so much corruption in this $200 billion. I'm sure that we know a large piece of it's going to the Trump kids who are now invested in drone technology. I mean, a lot of you, right? I mean, how much money is going to go pouring out of the Pentagon to all these friends of Donald Trump?
Well, one of our subscribers, she's great. Diana just said a great thing. Why doesn't Donald Trump go raise this money from his board of peace? Since this is a peace of war, this is a war for peace. He has the board of peace. Why does he say well, each country put up 10 billion each? Like he had them put up $1 billion. Where did that money? By the way, can I ask somebody where did that $1 billion each go? Where did the
beats me?
Oh yeah. So let's just kind of do a recoup session.
I'm just saying, because
he's got a board of peace with 21 people, so $21 billion. He even put $10 billion of his own dollars in there. So now we're talking about $31 billion. It's just kind of sitting on the War of Peace shelf, the Board of Peace shelf. But now he's begging the United States Congress for $200 billion more dollars because the Board of Peace isn't coming to help. And here's the great part. Neither are the NATO allies. No. And he's like, the NATO allies have showed us their true colors. And I'm like, you haven't triggered Article 4, Article 5, none of those things. You're just now blaming everybody saying that you need the money. And at the same time, and this is the fucking beautiful part of the Trump regime, this is the stuff that I love. I love the hypocrisy here. He's like, the war's won, we're going it alone. And fuck you for not helping. We could have used your help, but we don't need your help. But now we need $200 billion extra dollars. To Lev's point, for a war that shouldn't have happened because they have already obliterated Iran once and obliterated them now every day for the past 20 days. So there's nothing left. And now they're still begging for money, $200 billion taxpayer dollars to help them.
They love a war.
Across
love a war. They love it because they can pour money into their own pockets, and they know that. And by the way, now this is the story we found on Ground News, which is great because they have this blind spot feature, which allows you, amongst other things, to see stories that the other side is reporting that you might not be aware of. So when I say the other side, the left of the spectrum, the right of the spectrum. So this is a story that's currently doing big rounds at Ground News. So the story headline is Iran considers levying transit fees on ships in Hormuz Strait. You can see it's a 60% right-wing covered story. You're not getting a lot of this if you're a left-wing media consumer. And the story is quite simple. They're going to start taxing countries who want to use the straits for transit to put their oil on vessels to go through the straits is going to cost you a lot more money than it did before, which is going to do everything you'd expect it to in terms of prices around the world, inflation, everything, you name it, because now there'll be a levy on every oil tanker that's going across the Straits of Hormuz to wherever it might be going. Right now, only the Chinese vessels and the Iranian vessels are getting through, which tells you a lot about which side is doing what.
Pakistani vessels too. So
okay, there you go.
Pakistan's allowed to get shit through the strait.
Now there you go.
They're playing nice. They're playing nice. Right?
if you play nice, you get to the easy pass, as I think Jacob Carsbo called it the other day.
Yeah, and let me just kind of let me insert some common sense here, because in war, everybody's looking for like a conspiracy theory. I talked about it the other day, the wisdom of Jimmy Blundell. You catch more flies with honey than shit, right? You don't beat the horses you win the race with. Right now, Donald Trump is literally sitting there thinking, I aced that total Japanese press conference. I look great. Everything's great. He begged her for help. He begged the Japanese prime minister for help in that meeting. And then gave competing narratives about how successful everything is in the region. And literally, I watched two of the biggest oil fields in the fucking world. South Paz, which is this incredible LNG oil field that stretches from Kuwait all the way to Iran. They share this oil field. The United States and Israel lit it on fire. Donald Trump puts out a tweet today, a Truth Social post. 2:00 in the morning. You want to know how to control this dude is and this war is? Go to deanblundell.substack.com and read that Truth Social post where he's like, I had nothing to do. I had nothing to do with the bombing of the oil fields. Kuwait, I'm totally sorry about everything that happened. That was Israel, wasn't me. I'll get him to stop. And Iran, if you even think about bombing in return, then I'm going to get you twice as bad. Well, guess what Iran did? They bombed in return.
They bombed Riyadh today.
Oh my God, Riyadh. The Kuwaiti LNG factory, the biggest one in the world, the biggest natural oil field, gas oil field in the world, is on fucking fire today. Like on fire to the point where now the rest of the world is gone, oh fuck, thank God we're entering summer because we don't have to heat homes. This is a global disaster.
Yeah, and up to now, the Riyadh diplomats, the Saudi and UAE and a bunch of other diplomats were meeting in Riyadh, and for the Iranians to attack Riyadh while this diplomacy was attempting to take shape in the capital of Saudi Arabia is not a good look. And by the way, the Saudis and the UAE guys are all like, maybe we've had enough of Iran, which of course is part of the ploy here, is to engage the entire region in a Middle East conflict and get everyone inflamed in a war. I mean, that would make everyone even richer as they need more weapons and more supplies and more whatever. So it's getting really dangerous. And to think that an apology from Donald Trump is going to be believed by anybody, of course he knew. Or maybe he didn't know. Maybe because he's that dumb, he didn't know. But of course he knew.
Let's move to our White House insider, our MAGA insider.
Yeah.
Israel bombs the fuck out of South Paz LNG facilities, and Donald Trump's like, I swear to God, I had no idea. And then Axios comes out with a report saying not only did he have an idea, he fucking greenlit the whole thing.
Oh, absolutely. That's part of my letter that I wrote today on my Substack, literally an hour before we went live. I wish I got a chance to send it earlier, but I was actually on the phones working some of that info. This is going back to what Putin and Netanyahu needed to get done. They needed, because part of nailing now that not only are we seeing oil facilities getting hit, it's strategically, that's why the LNG facilities are getting hit, because who profits the most from LNG LNG gas. If the Qataris get nailed, because look at how the strategic plays. They understand that once you nail Iran, Iran is gonna. Who are they gonna hit? They're local, and that's Qatar. Qatar is the next biggest player in that field of LNG gas. So now, if you knock those two players out of the ballpark, who becomes the next two biggest players? Russia and the U.S. And what happens? How do you get the LNG gas over to East Europe? Is through Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2. And I know I keep reiterating and going back to the same thing, but no, it was definitely a loud green lit. This is part of also turmoil that the Israelis did on behalf of the United States. So Trump could say, I had no idea. He put out that tweet, don't do it again. If you do it again, I'm gonna, what are you gonna do? What this is
You're gonna get a spanking.
And with bombs.
Yeah. No,
That's really interesting.
It's not coincidence. This is coordinated.
Oh, we lost Lev again there. But Lev, you're breaking up a little bit. And now we'll get back to Lev in just a second. Hopefully he's going to return to us. In the meantime, let's get to the number 3 story, because I'm also dying to get to hear Lev Parnas's reaction to this. Former National Counterterrorism Center Director Joe Kent sat down with Tucker Carlson last night for his first public interview since resigning over the Iranian war. The FBI has been investigating now Kent, or so they claim. They've been investigating him for months over alleged classified leaks, but that news came out after he resigned his job. Now, he makes some startling claims to Tucker Carlson. And I take Tucker Carlson very, very lightly. I mean, you can't take this guy very seriously. He's paid by all sorts of,
Are you saying you can't take Tucker Carlson, the guy who said a demon attacked him in the middle of the night sexually and scratched his back, and he had to go home and tell his wife that the back scratches was from a sexual assault by a demon? You can't take him seriously?
I mean, that didn't strike me as being true. I mean, it felt maybe there was some other story, and that was maybe classified as
just making sure we're talking about the same guy.
Yeah, that same guy. Yeah. That was like this informing his wife about what he was really doing to get those scratches. Which could be anything. Could be anything. Could be in a fight with a lawnmower or anything.
I'm not judging.
Could have walked through a dense forest by accident, and the leaves got him or something. It could be absolutely anything. It's not just the demon who could do it. But anyhow, this is astounding to me. He said so many crazy things, Kent, to Tucker Carlson, and he sounds completely, reasonable in what he's saying. Which should we start here? Let's start with no imminent threat, because it ties into what we've been talking about Iran. So this is a guy who was sitting in the DNI's office, at the Office of National Intelligence, seeing all the intelligence, saying there's no real threat from Iran. And we knew that.
Come after us hard, and that got the protesters out on the street in Iran. And that's actually what the regime feared the most. I don't think the Ayatollah feared dying, not because he, is some crazy lunatic. I'm sure some degree of the Shia martyrdom culture played a factor in that. However, I think he knew that if he was killed, the regime would survive, because the people would rally around the regime.
Well, there's been a lot of noise in the news lately, but none of it matters if you can't hear it. There's no
Let's forget that one, because that's just an ad that he gets to. It's pity that one played, because I wasn't something for something else. But anyhow, basically he said there was no imminent threat. Maybe this is the one. It's
saying that there was no intelligence that you saw with the highest level clearance, obviously involved in this conversation, that showed an imminent threat from Iran to the United States.
No, unless we took certain actions, unless we came after them in a way that they thought threatened the regime, then we basically knew what they were going to do.
Well, okay, right, of course,
right. But like any country, so if you attack any country, we know that they're going to have a reaction.
We face an imminent threat once we attack you.
Fantastic. Yeah, exactly. But there was no intelligence that said, "Hey, on whatever day it was, March 1st, the Iranians are going to launch this big sneak attack. They're going to do some kind of a 9/11 Pearl Harbor, etc. They're going to attack one of our bases."
Pearl Harbor.
There was none of that intelligence. Again, back to what we know about the Iranians, they're very, very deliberate with the escalation ladder. And again, they're only deliberate under President Trump's leadership, because they knew and they took President Trump very, very seriously.
So I don't know if you got that, Lev, but this is Kent saying there was no real imminent threat to America at all.
Yeah. So I think that I think the Trump and them are trying to cut me off for every time I want to tell you guys some breaking news. They keep cutting me off the internet. I don't know what's going on. This
A
is
little bit
great.
of past then.
This is insane. But no, I saw that Tucker Carlson interview before. So listen, there was that this is the one of the most important things I think that is, people are trying to now muddy the waters by saying he is a white nationalist. He's this. Listen, the guy's as bad as they come. I want to say right off the bat, this guy Joe Kent is no angel. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying to
Joe
you?
Kent's a
But
prick. Yeah.
oh, he's a yeah. He does.
Do you know
But
him?
this is it. I never met Joe Kent, but I know the name in the circles. But I
Joe
think I
Kent
said
has been on several white nationalist Nazi
yeah,
podcasters in the past where he's
yeah.
like, yeah, white people need to fucking take this shit seriously. Great Replacement's a big deal. Like he's that guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, no, he's definitely that, and he's hardcore MAGA. So for him to make part of what I'm hearing, part of the switch was because of the fight that's happening now. Because he's a Tucker Carlson guy. That's why you saw him come out right away, do an interview on Tucker Carlson, and the rift that you're having now inside of MAGA with Tucker Carlson, and coming out saying the CIA's coming after him because he's being a foreign agent to Iran and stuff like that. There's a lot of things playing out back in the MAGA scene. But out of that whole thing, without taking, I think the most important thing that I took out of it that I think is important is again going back to the timing of the attack on Iran. Again, that there was no imminent, and that's like you said, there was no imminent threat right there. There was no reason because the timing was it had nothing to do with imminent threat. It had to do with Russia and Israel. There was and that's what I wrote about today, man. For Russia, it was about life or death, getting oil, get energy, getting back into the world market. Look at them in a month and a half, how they're all of a sudden starting to play the biggest role, and it's going to get more and more. And for Israel, it was an opportunity to be able to take out Iran while it's at its weakest. And now what we're not even talking about is that literally you got Kushner and Witkoff going out there getting billions of dollars to redo the Gaza Strip and the West Bank and all of that, like the real estate deal. So this is again going back to real estate, going back to oil, going back to power. But those two are using that while millions of people are dying. For Donald Trump, it's about he thought he was going to get his Nobel Peace Prize. He's going to come in and win. He just like he did in Venezuela. He thought in his plan it was going to be Venezuela, and this is how they got him. They gave him the easy one. They set up Maduro, gave him Venezuela. He came in. Now they told him, okay, we're going to give you the Ayatollah. Everybody hates the Ayatollah, right? You go wipe out the Ayatollah. And Trump said, is like, that's why even Trump himself said when he tried to blame Kushner and what's his name, and Hegseth, saying that it was because of them. He invaded, not because of his generals, because it was them in the room, because they basically said to me, yeah, boss, we're just going to go in there. We're going to knock him out. We're going to come out. You're going to be, and then right after that, you're going to take Cuba. And that's it. You got the trifecta, and we got the election. And now they got him, Bibi Netanyahu and Putin got Donald Trump, the United States and the world into a major holy war, a war that is now, like I said, they knocked over the hornet's nest, a war that Trump cannot, in any way control, a war that is just starting. Because I mean, I'll give you another thing. I was traveling this week, and one thing I saw in TSA that we have all of the media talking about how inconvenient
Yeah, you
it
wrote
is,
about
how
this.
problem. Yeah, I wrote about it. And the one thing nobody's talking about is remember 9/11? Are we really waiting for something, God forbid, to happen for us to say, holy shit, like, we need to get our TSA? Because I was standing in line just in front of me. I saw people going through the line, beeping, not getting doubly padded, baggages getting pushed through the thing, overflowing over each other. And so what I'm saying to you is like, and again, leading back to what? And we're in the most heightened security. We're not we're at war. We're at war with Iran. They got Trump himself. We said we have sleeper cells that are being activated all over the country that are going to start. So this is just the beginning of a major, major. And again, when he comes and says oil prices are going to go down and gas is going to go down, I mean, where are the Democratic leadership? Like, I don't understand. Like, just like how are not everybody out there with signs of gas prices. Just say all they gotta do, and I'm sorry, I'm just like babbling but this is so important because this is part of what I was telling them in Congress this past couple of days. You guys just if you took a playbook out of Donald Trump and see how he won, what did he do? As soon as oil gas prices fell, every day that's all he would tell you. Look at the gas prices. Look at the gas prices. Look at this. Has anybody seen the gas prices nowadays? Has anybody even talks about the gas prices? In California, it's almost six something dollars of gas prices. In Florida,
and it's going to keep going up.
Exactly, and this and the Democrats. There's nobody talking about. I mean, I'm sorry, Zev. Go ahead, take it back.
No. You touched on there's Wall Street, then there's Main Street. You're touching on a Main Street issue, right? You're touching on the thing that is going to cause the biggest problem for Donald Trump, which is like him selling everybody this lie that gas is $1.50 in Missouri. It's fucking $6-7. It's $8 for diesel. Like, and this is where like a lot of people that they've been able to snow are going to wake up and go, oh my God, why did I just pay twice as much for a tank of gas that I did 2 weeks ago? And someone is going to lean into their ear and go, it's Donald Trump. It's the war. It's Iran. And then they're going to go, but we're getting rid of the Muslims, right? Is that worth like double a tank of gas? And that's when that single issue voter is going to go, maybe he was lying. And when I say single issue voter, I mean like the person that voted for Donald Trump because he told them bananas will be cheap, eggs will be cheap, gas will be cheap, rent will be cheap, your inflation and the mortgages, they'll come down. That's through the fucking roof today.
Yeah.
Everything, because oil touches everything from your medicine to your food, supply chains, boats, airplanes, cargo trucks, everything, absolutely everything. And if you don't think that matters, just wait a month to my friend Lev's fucking advice, which is like, hey, it's already $6-7. Wait till and gas like Brent crude, 110 a barrel, 112 a barrel. As I sit here today, how's 250 a barrel? Because that's where we're going.
It's nobody liked their vacations more than Americans, and it's getting into summer. People are going to be planning their trips, and they're going to be planning their flights, and they're going to be planning their road trips, and everything is going to be way, way more expensive to the point where, summer may be canceled for a lot of Americans this year. Their ability to travel, their ability to have some leisure time is going to be cut. Not to mention the fact that just, buying steaks is so expensive. Never mind all the other essentials you need for everything, even going back to school when you think about the end of summer. And the effects of what's going on now will not be unraveled until, November. By all accounts, this doesn't get sorted out until November. Even if the war ended today and Brent crude came back down to normal levels, there is still such a backlog that's going on right now. And by the time they've cleared that and everyone starts up oil production again and then refining again, it'll be November, which happens to be election time. It's not a good look.
Great points. But can I just even add something else onto it, guys? Just think about this. Right before the war started, what was the biggest breaking news that was happening across the world? It had to do with our economy. It had to do the same thing. And it's going to hit us again. The Supreme Court said that Donald Trump can't tariff, has to give back the money. Donald Trump went and just tariffed people. That whole tariff business, we're not talking about, but that's going to come back and bite us in the ass. This is all, it's like, that volcano, it's like bubbling, it's bubbling, it's bubbling, we're seeing, like sparks erupting, like this shit's going to explode. Our economy is going to explode, from the tariffs to the oil crisis to, you're talking about travel, great, it's up in Dubai. You know how much a $7,000 room a night in Dubai that you can get right now for? $199.
Because no one's traveling there at all.
Nobody's traveling. Who's going to travel in Europe? Who's going to a couple of all it takes is one suicide bomber right now, one instance on some plane, one radical, jihadist to go fight on behalf of Iran, and you're going to stop. Just think, people forget very quickly what happened in 2001, 9/11. People forget what happened right afterwards, how long it took our country to get back to normality. People forget how long, you know, in the generations,
COVID.
how long COVID, it took, you know, how our lives changed drastically. But this is what we're you know, we're at this point right now because things are changing. And what do we have to wait for until another 9/11, another incident until we say, and all of this is done. Why, folks? Because Donald Trump doesn't want to pay TSA because of the Save America Act, because he wants to make sure he could steal your votes, because wants to make sure. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So
No, it's fine. I'm glad you're making that connection. I just want to play one more clip quickly of Joe Kent. He talks a lot about Bibi Netanyahu and the hold that Bibi has over Trump. And it's really interesting. Let's take a listen.
It's incredibly frustrating that there's not more, especially considering how pivotal Charlie was to the MAGA movement and to President Trump, that there hasn't been a more concerted effort to find the truth and to find justice.
Do you think there will be?
I'm going to choose this clip. Just going to play another one. We'll get back to that one in a second. Because that
sure is. And what our interest
So
is
Israeli government talking points laundered through Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. Is that the ecosystem you're talking about?
Yeah, and then the Israeli officials coming in and basically either ahead of time or after the fact saying the same thing, like the enrichment is going to get them a nuclear bomb in a set amount of time.
Do you believe that you and the DNI, for whom you worked until yesterday, had as much FaceTime with the president as Israeli officials did?
I don't know. I don't know that for sure because I don't know exactly how frequently the Israelis were engaging directly with the president. It did seem like Benjamin Netanyahu was, you know, obviously that was all public, that he was in the White
7
House.
times.
Quite a bit, yeah, quite a bit. And then his other officials as well, Dermer, et cetera, those guys were in, they were making phone calls, just a lot of engagement from them. And again, when we would hear, or you'd hear what they were saying, it didn't reflect in intelligence channels, even intelligence that we shared with the Israelis were giving us in many cases. So there was a clear, you know, gap between, you know, the intelligence and then the information that the president was given and the decisions that the president was making.
So the president is in a bubble. He's in an echo chamber that's basically built by Israel. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, gotcha. Can you hear us?
Lev, can you hear us?
No.
Lev? No, Lev. Oh.
Can't hear us. Come back in, Lev. Come back in. Here's the question I have for you. Here's the question I have for you. Is Joe Kent going to be a major problem for Donald Trump going forward? Because what he did, you know, and I fucking hate Tucker Carlson. Hate him. I think he's a purveyor of bullshit. But I think that, you know, like any good movement, any good group of psychopaths, I think that a guy like Joe Kent latches on to a certain truth that he doesn't like, and he drives that truth right through the front door of good ship, fuck you, right? Like I really do believe that. I think that works with MAGA. I think it works with guys like Joe Kent. I think it works like everybody else. But, and Lev, thanks for popping back in. I know you're having some technical issues, but, you know, one of the things that when I watch a Joe Kent clip that strikes me is that makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. You know, it makes sense to so many of us that Donald Trump got suckered, and the United States has been suckered for a very long time by an Israeli regime, not the Jewish people. Let's separate those two things.
Very important.
Suckered by Netanyahu and his group of sycophants into this legacy fucking war that not only the legacy war, but also suckered into giving Israel through Benjamin Netanyahu, not Israel, through Benjamin Netanyahu, the cover of the United States reputation and government to go and commit genocide in a country they have no business being in. And
I mean, I think you're absolutely right.
Well, and this is the question, and I want to come to you, Zev, in a second. But Lev, he seems to have some pretty rock solid receipts for that conversation. Joe Kent.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I said, by the way, when we were talking earlier about Joe Kent, you don't have to like the guy, forget about who he is, but listen to what he's saying because a lot of the things is very important. Also, one thing he said that Netanyahu met with Trump about 7 times or give or take in the first year. Think about how many times Witkoff met with Putin, also about 7 or 8 times. This is the connection. If you take a look at the interconnection, Witkoff, Kushner, and for a year we've been talking, and I'm going to keep saying it because it's the connection. Joe Kent is right 100%. Trump was being manipulated by Netanyahu, by Putin, by people like Dmitriev, Witkoff, and Kushner that were being used. This was the alliance, the axis that was being pushed and brought us to where we are today. From what we saw play out in the war in Ukraine, from what we saw play out in the war in the Middle East, when Palestine was basically given to Bibi Netanyahu on a silver platter. We don't even talk about all the death and destruction that went on there and that continue to goes on every day. Now we're, he mentions peace in the Middle East. Think about what peace. Before Trump came into office, you might have had a suicide bombing here and there. Now you got bombing in Lebanon, you got Qatar, you got the UAE, where is peace in the Middle East? How come these reporters won't come up and say, Mr. President, what happened with your peace in the Middle East? How is that going? It's not going too well.
It's Jared Kushner about the Abraham Accords.
Right, yeah.
The thing is about what Joe Kent is saying is that he's totally accurate. I mean, you don't need to believe him. We can see how many times Bibi Netanyahu met with Donald Trump. We can see that the entire inside circle of Trump's inner world there is basically Israeli operatives and Russian operatives. Jared Kushner is so close to Bibi Netanyahu. The guy slept in his bedroom when he was a kid. Yeah. The relationship between the Saudis and Kushner is so tight. The relationships between the Russians and Kushner and the Russians and Witkoff so
and the
tight.
Russians and Bibi.
And Bibi as well. I mean, this is a network. This is a network of transnational criminals that have seized the White House. And they have, the president is part of this network, but he's also surrounded by operatives that are enabling this network's takeover of the White House and everything that stands for, which means controlling all our foreign policy, all our economic policy, everything that normal presidents should be doing in the service of Americans. They're doing in the service of Russia and Israel right now, which is why Russia's the biggest winner out of this whole conflict in the Middle East. They're coming out with all the money. They're coming out with all the sanctions being dropped against them. And Israel is getting to continue its relentless war against a regime which probably doesn't deserve any of the attacks that they've been getting up until now, based on just this idea that Bibi can stay out of prison the longer he stays at war.
Well, Zev, I really, when we get off this, I want you to go read my Substack letter because in there I even put some text messages between Bibi's people sending to me saying, Lev, we won. We want you and Rudy to be there at Bibi's inauguration. I got you pictures there of, them sending me to bring in the Russian vote. If it wasn't for Putin, if it wasn't for Russia, if it wasn't for the oligarchy and Trump in 2018, Bibi would not be around. Bibi would never have won to begin with. And I was there. And that's what I'm trying to say to people. This didn't come overnight. This is an alliances that were built. And, Bibi's alliance to Russia and the Russian oligarchy is so strong. And Zev, you've done a lot of reporting about that. That when you start connecting the dots, really connecting the dots, I say, watch what they do and not what they say. Yeah, Bibi might be, not supporting Russia everywhere. But if you take a look at their policy, even going back to 2010 in Syria, and everything else, I mean, their worlds align. And what happened basically is when Trump won, they both couldn't believe it, just like everybody in the world couldn't believe it. And they understood one thing, that this time they needed to act quickly. And that's why you see in this 1 year, you see primarily everything play out between Bibi and Putin. You have a constant crisis in the Middle East because everything benefiting Bibi. And again, I think it's very important to what also Dean said, and I want to reiterate that, and I wrote that in my letter also, because I think that's what brings a lot of hate, because a lot of pundits out there, a lot of journalists make a mistake, and when they say things like they mention Israel, not Bibi, they say Russia, not Putin, they say, but just think about how Americans are looked at around the world because of Trump. And that's why I write
Hostages.
my letter. Exactly. We are all hostages, just like Iran is hostage to the Ayatollahs, just like the Palestinian people were hostages to the Hamas. You know what I'm saying? Just like, the Venezuelan people are hostages to Maduro's regime. We're right now hostages to Trump. So it's not the people. And that's why it would stop hate if we call a spade what a spade. And it's these leaders, these autocrats, these dictators that are running these countries and using the power of the country to be able to do that. And so the relation between Bibi, Kushner, Russia, and when Trump won, Trump just became again that useful idiot. Because look, if you take a look back, it's not that difficult. Everybody's doing, they're waving, they're giving Trump that golden win, they're giving him the recognition. You have Putin, out of all people, Putin coming out saying that Trump is right, Trump is a great leader. If Trump would have been president, we would have not invaded Ukraine. Just think about the craziness. You have Bibi coming with letters saying Trump needs to be Nobel Peace Prize. You got them giving Trump what he wants, and in the meantime, Trump's giving them what they want.
They're raking in so much money.
Exactly.
And, just interesting, Bibi has a hotline to Putin from his home to Putin's office directly. It is secured and encrypted, and America cannot access it. That would never have been the case in the years gone by. That is how close Bibi and Putin really are.
Thank you, Zev.
The number 2 story in the calendar, we've got to move quickly here because we got so much more to go. We mentioned this yesterday. This is Tulsi Gabbard's second time today as she appeared before the House committee this time, asking a lot of questions about what she was doing in Fulton County and asking a lot of questions about whether Iran was a real threat. Unlike yesterday, where she got herself into a lot of trouble by, it seemed to me like perjuring herself under oath when she contradicted
she might have been
the
told
president.
that between last night's testimony and today's testimony, because today's testimony was very different. Yeah.
And I'm going to play for you to say, I'm just going to find it here quickly, but she was basically a lot more demure, did not really answer any questions related to what happened in Fulton County. But the stink of yesterday is still there. I mean, she basically perjured herself, contradicted the president in what is a significant scandal, because it involves an attempt by this group of people, a real organized attempt to seize the next elections. And that's not a theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. They're actually trying to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, I watched Tulsi Gabbard today, and 2 things came to mind. Number 1, when your kid knows he's in trouble, right? Trump doesn't have this gear. Trump does not have this gear. When you're in trouble and you're like, yes, sir, please, sir, I'll do whatever you say, sir. That is kind of what we got today from Tulsi Gabbard. With Donald Trump, it's different. It's like, you know what? We don't need your help. It's like, okay, dude, whatever you like. But Tulsi Gabbard showed like this string of like capitulation today. That's hard to explain unless you notice tone. And I'm a big tone guy. I'm a big body language guy. Let's watch this woman kind of slowly navigate a really difficult question to kind of give a little space between herself and her boss. Watch this. This is great.
Okay.
Gabbard, as was well. In January, you were present at the execution of an FBI warrant at the Fulton County, Georgia election office at the direction of the president and to all appearances in connection with the president's false claims about the 2020 election. The unsealed affidavit submitted by the FBI made 0 reference to foreign powers or outside interference. And so I don't want to relitigate the reasons why you were there, but I do want to know whether as a result of your visit there is credible intelligence in your possession pointing to foreign interference in Georgia in the 2020 election.
Thank you for the question, Ranking Member. As you know, over each of the previous elections, there is an ongoing effort by different foreign entities.
Ma'am, it's a very specific question. Is there intelligence in your possession relative to foreign interference in the 2020 elections? Very simple, straightforward question.
We are continuing to look at previous attempts to interfere in our elections and any ongoing threats that may exist for the upcoming elections.
Okay, but can I assume that the answer to my question is no, that you have no specific intelligence related to foreign meddling in the Georgia election?
We are continuing to look into this matter.
Okay.
Wow. So basically, she's refusing to answer anything. She's not even saying yes or no. She got smacked on the wrist for what's happened yesterday. I'm sure they were, what Warner did to her yesterday was really cornered her into basically perjuring herself. And it's now clear that what they're doing is a major, major operation.
She is in what we like to call in the real world trouble. Yeah. She knows it. And that's the vibe that you got from her today. Like, we all get caught up in words. I don't give a shit about words. I give a shit about what is presented in front of me. What am I looking at? And what I looked at today, where I watched Tulsi Gabbard basically say in her opening statement, what I'm about to tell you isn't my opinion. This is what I'm told to tell you. Mm-hmm. That started off the whole thing. Yeah. Then, as we progressively got into her testimony in front of the House Oversight Committee, she was like, you know what? That's not a question for me. I don't know. You're going to have to go ask someone else. I don't have any information about that. I don't know anything about that. And the one thing that fucking made me laugh all the time.
How does she not have information?
Correct. She is in charge of every question she was asked today. Yeah. She is the ODNI. That is the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. She's the Director of National Intelligence. She should have had an answer for almost every question they asked her today, because it has to do with a foreign war, a foreign emissary, a foreign enemy. And she's like, you're going to have to ask Donald Trump.
If there's one thing she should know about is election interference. But here's what's really going on. It's clear that Kristi Noem the other day, who's now under a perjury investigation for what's going on at the Department of Homeland Security, obviously is concerning other cabinet secretaries who might be concerned that, maybe if I lie in front of a committee under oath, I might also be under potential investigation for perjury, because it's not only her, and it leads to our number one story on the countdown today. So Pam Bondi.
Pam. Poor Pam. Had a tough day.
So Pam also wants to avoid perjury, like Tulsi, but not like Kristi, who's not been able to avoid it. So she decided to show up really early for her Epstein hearing yesterday with the House Oversight Committee, and she refused to go under oath because she says, well, my hearing is actually on the 14th of April, but I'm just here early to give you a pre-buttal, like a scene setter, so I can tell you exactly what I can tell you
so
under oath.
I can tell you that I'm not going to tell you anything.
Yeah. And then she proceeded to say she's not even sure she's going to appear on that day. She's not going to be under oath. And the reason there is simply that she's got this choice to make. She can either protect the president of the United States and she'll perjure herself. I mean, that's really what it will be. Or she damages the president of the United States by telling the truth, in which case she's, doomed anyhow from a political perspective. So it's either jail, perjury, or doom in the political exile of the world.
You'd think if you have done that math ahead of time, you're already in trouble. Like you would think. You would think
she knows that if she showed up early. She was like, hey, I'm coming early. I'm going to try and convince you all that I've got... And, the Democrats, to their credit, are having none of this because they don't trust her, because she's not trustworthy, because she's involved in this massive cover-up of the Epstein files, which is huge and getting bigger by the minute. And so Pam Bondi, trying to find a way out of this is not succeeding. And it's looking like just a disastrous time for her, as she has faced this impossible decision between jail or a doomed career. I don't know if she's got anything left in her life beyond this.
She doesn't. She doesn't, other than her 62-year-old husband, who is like hanging on for dear life. Listen, can I just kind of introduce a new concept to all of these people that are in very fucking deep trouble advocating for Donald Trump? Can I introduce a common denominator here?
Yeah, please.
They're all women.
Yep.
All of them. Every single woman he's put out on the ice floe of good ship, go fuck yourself, for sticking up for him. They're all women. He does not give a shit about any of them. He doesn't care about Pam Bondi. He doesn't give a fuck about Kristi Noem. He certainly doesn't give a single shit about any woman in his cabinet. They are cannon fodder to him.
Yeah.
And that's really the shame here. women are so much better than us in so many capacities, like so many capacities. And what Donald Trump has done is he's found the dumbest women in the United States of America to do his shit gibbon bidding, and knowing that they are fully incompetent, like Pete Hegseth, who he will not abandon because he's a dude, right? It's a boy.
Oh, he will. He will at some point. He will. There'll be a moment
I'm sure he'll
where
throw him out at some point, but not right
it'll
now
all be
because
his
he's
fault.
a dude.
It was all
He's
Pete's
a man.
fault.
People take
He
white
should never
men
have done
more
that.
seriously than white women, right?
Yeah.
Like Donald Trump doesn't give a shit about any of these women.
Or anybody.
Care.
Anybody.
No, he doesn't give a fuck about Tulsi Gabbard. He doesn't give a shit about Pam Bondi. He definitely doesn't care about Pete Hegseth. The only thing he cares about is can these, and I'm sure behind closed doors he uses words like dumb broads. Can these dumb broads? Oh, yeah. Can these stupid broads provide cover for me until I'm done with them, like I was done with that 13-year-old in 1984? Can they give me what I need, and can I throw them away like I throw away women and children, including my own children? Can they just accomplish this goal for me where I can put them in front of me like a fucking shield to take all the bullets, and then when all is said and done, I can cast them aside like Katie Johnson in 1984? Can I do that? And that is what Donald Trump is. And these women, which is fucking unbelievable, Pam Bondi, Tulsi Gabbard, it is crazy to me that they're sitting there going, we'll continue to do this, sir. We'll continue to do this because we hate women too. We hate ourselves. We don't deserve the right to vote either. We know that we're cannon fodder for your excellency. We know we have to do what needs to be done for you, sir. And they are all going to get fucked. Like Ghislaine Maxwell in this. And you know what? I hope they look at the Ghislaine Maxwell thing and go, maybe I should bail out. Maybe I should back up like Marjorie Taylor Greene did, like Lauren Boebert's starting to do. Maybe they look at Ghislaine Maxwell and go, okay, all these men, Trump's at the center of it, and some British woman's in jail for all of it, and none of these people are being held accountable. That's what's in store for all of them, and I hope
absolutely. And Pam Bondi, more than anybody, is involved in an existing current crime, this cover up. I mean, she knows it. She's a lawyer. She's a prosecutor. She knows what she's doing. The only advice you could give Pam Bondi is to fess up, to go sit in front of that committee, tell the truth, and not let this president destroy your entire life, because he's going to anyhow, regardless. And you maybe have one shot here at redeeming yourself by actually going there and telling the truth, telling the American people what they need to know about who ordered this cover up, because maybe it came from you, but maybe it didn't come from you. And that's really important. Chances are it came up from a very high level.
Like the president of the United States.
Like the president of the United States. Like a boss.
There you go.
Now, I do hear, by the way, that RFK Jr. is on his way out at Health and Human Services. A good source tells me that Mehmet Oz may soon take that position, which may explain why RFK has been such a loose cannon, if he can be any more of a loose cannon than he typically is. But he's lost the vaccine fights, and it looks like Mehmet Oz could be the new HHS secretary. Wouldn't that be a good thing?
Well, at least we could understand what Oz says when he talks, as opposed to the current HHS guy.
Actually, a doctor.
I have a feeling that we need to introduce whole butter to everybody's diet. Did anybody see the Pitt takeoff on Maha this weekend, Saturday Night Live? Did you see that with Harry Styles? Yeah. Some dude, he broke his leg. He was in a car accident. He goes, "We need 6 liters of beef tallow and 6 liters of semen stat." Like, I don't know if you saw that. That is the state of the United States right now.
Oh my gosh. And look, there's Lev. Lev, I don't know what's up with your phone, but you look frozen. I don't know. I'm gonna
give up. So happy to be here, though.
I know. It's not right.
LevPartners.org, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much for Lev for being on the show.
Yes. Thank you, Lev. Thank you, guys.
Awesome to have him on. And from that, Lev remembers, check out his newsletter today, which is all about the stuff we've been talking about Russia, Israel, and the influence they have over Donald Trump. And check out deanblundell.substack.com, where you get so much brilliant news. You mentioned some of the stories that you have already today involving Trump, but what else can people look out for on your Substack?
Yeah, more of the same. I chase down dickheads, and I do it with absolute impunity. So do me a favor. Go to Substack.com. Check it out. We've got a great story on Pete Hegseth there telling his 13-year-old child, son, people are dying in Iran for you. I just want you to know that. I explained the whole thing as I needed to because it's a cult. So make sure you go there and check it out. And we've got 50% off, till the end of the month. It's our one year anniversary here on Substack. Wanted to make sure everybody got in. And more importantly, go to narrative.org. That man right there, my good friend, my dear friend, my pal, my compatriot, my battery mate, my Substack live partner, Zev Shalev is doing some incredible work. What can we find there today, my friend?
Well, we continue to cover the plot to steal the 2026 elections. I have all the Joe Kent clips that are worthy of seeing. I watched the entire interview, so you don't have to. So I've got a big roll up on that. That's on the site. Plus, we explore what Pam Bondi is really all about and her perjury trap, as it were. And there's a lot more coming. And don't forget, we also have coverage of the great clangor that was Bill Clinton. There was Donald Trump today, because nobody likes a surprise more than the Japanese. Isn't that funny? It's so funny. That's all at narrative.org.
You got the Pearl Harbor story there where he's hey, the Japanese are good at secrets, right? Remember Pearl Harbor? Remember? Come on, guys. Listen. I understand America's under siege, but you got to admit, some of this shit's pretty funny. Like when the Prime Minister of Japan sitting in front of him in the Oval Office after 85 years of, frosty relations because of a couple of nuclear bombs that the United States dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And of course, the impetus to that, which was fucking Pearl Harbor, the worst attack on U.S. soil in the history of the United States. And Donald Trump leans in to the Japanese prime minister and does one of these. You guys are you guys are pretty good at keeping secrets too, right? Like I hid Iran from you, like you hid Pearl Harbor from me.
That is the Five Stack today. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. It's been great to see you, and we'll be back tomorrow with another Five Stack. Have a great day.
Bye all.